Hello and welcome to Left Coast Live. I am your host, Dieter McBusiness, America's favorite white Anglo-Saxon Protestant gone left coastal. Joined as always by Stat Pat, Stateless Patriot, my co-host of the Central Valley. We are California lefties coming at you about national politics. And today will be an interesting one, folks. We have a very big moment, I would say, in the branding process of the DSA. And I think we have mixed feelings about it, but we'll get to those in a minute. Why don't we, Stat Pat, do you have anything to open us up with, or do you want to get right into the interview?
Um, Nothing in particular. I mean, it's definitely been an eventful past week for the left in general. I guess broadly speaking. Um, I mean, aside from that, I was actually really looking forward to today's show. I'm interested in seeing how exactly um, these things get covered because if folks didn't know, I did a solo stream on
Yeah, I watched it.
Sunday. Yeah, basically covering the recent stuff regarding comments that Mr. David Pakman was making in
Yep.
regards to the broader left and the DSA and whatnot, and how it basically mirrors the Democrat consultant class, and it was just very forced and unfair, and but I'm sure we'll get more into that. I'm just glad that it's actually picking up steam amongst more of the left because of just how ridiculous and obviously biased it is.
All right. Well, here comes the DSA's biggest media exposure moment of the last 6 months. Ashik, the other co-chair, was on Fox News not too long ago. But let's
Mm.
see how Megan Romer does on this appearance on Fox News this past Sunday. They are going to give you a precursor for how some neoliberal consulting class people think of this ahead of time, as if Van Jones and James Carville and
Like we
Rahm
give a
Emanuel
fuck
are
about those two.
representative of what progressive Democrats think.
I am
Exactly.
tired of a set of people on the very far left in the Democratic Party, my party, telling us that in order for us to be progressives, we now have to believe ideas and support ideas that are completely nuts.
You got a set of defunding, decriminalizing, open borders. We have run that play and gotten our butts kicked.
When?
We don't need to do
No,
it a
no,
second
you
time to see if
fucking
it
didn't.
turns
What
out
the
the
fuck?
movie
Never
turns
Okay,
out
have.
any
Never
different.
have. You
this
never
is
have.
Prominent Democrat
ridiculous.
voices pushing back on the growing
It's fine. Of
influence
course
of
they're
the
going to say
Democratic
that.
Socialist
Yeah.
candidates they say are ultimately going to hurt the Democrat Party. So let's
He
talk
acts
about it
like
with the
that's what
national
Kamala
co-chair of the
Harris ran
Democratic
on. Like
Socialists
what?
of America, Megan Romer. Megan, welcome to the show.
Thanks so much for having me, Shannon.
Okay, so there's this growing conversation about whether you can exist within the party, whether you want to upend it for your own purposes, a totally different platform. The Daily Economy quotes you saying this at a DSA convention last year. We will win by making conditions so intolerable for the ruling class that they would rather give in to our demands than continue to live with the disturbance we cause until we are able to fully seize power ourselves. Is that aimed at the Democrat Party?
It's aimed from the working class to the ruling class. So the two-party duopoly, the two corporate parties, it is aimed at both of them, and it comes from the working class.
So
Again, so I'm going to do that. We're going to do this is how we're going to do it as we go here,
Mm-hmm.
because I haven't really reacted to this publicly.
Mm-hmm.
Decent answer. I give it a B, B plus.
Mm-hmm.
For an opener, it's just this. Where is the language along the lines of the DSA is representative of the working class political worldview, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Like attach the DSA brand in there. But yeah, she does well to identify the enemy, the ruling class. She could have called it the Epstein class, or the business class, or the investing class,
Yeah.
or those who own 93% of the stock market. She could have had maybe some little bit more fun there. But hey, this is Megan Romer. This is who she is. She's very dry and direct. And I'm just saying what I would have done if I had been coaching her. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, I mean, well, she gives off the vibe of just like she's just there to promote the platform. She's not going to be bombastic or give any essence of a more, I guess, energetic or flowery personality because I'm not sure if that's strategic or not. It's probably not, but it's just it's if it is consciously being done, it's in order to avoid just the surface level, uh, just dumb attacks from the right who would just like try to like pick upon anything, like just grasp at straws, basically like look at how she acted here or what have you. So giving like just flat, straightforward answers with no flair is
Color.
kind of yeah. It's a good way to approach it. I would say at least.
Okay, you like the dry approach.
So should Van Jones and Rahm Emanuel and James Carville and all of the establishment Democrats be worried about DSA plans from within their tent?
The establishment Democrats should be worried about the voters and about what the voters think and about what the constituency thinks. And
Yes.
right now they have not been delivering, and our candidates are and have been, and it's resonating with voters.
So Jamie Harrison, who was
All
the
true.
DNC chair, after you guys had such a big night in New York City and knocking off some of those incumbents and having success with your candidates in the congressional primaries, he said, if you hate the Democratic Party, then don't run for our nomination. Don't use our resources. Don't rely on our volunteers. Don't use our infrastructure. Focus on building the party you actually support. Other Democrats out there saying this is a separate party, the DSA. You don't belong within the party. How do you respond to his statements there?
Yeah, I mean, the two parties have over years and decades created a system where ballot line access is extremely difficult for third parties. I also have been told a lot of times by Democrats, don't vote third party, it's wasting your vote. So we run on the Democratic ballot line where it makes sense.
Yeah,
We
that's
run
brilliant.
independents sometimes where
So that's brilliant. What she just did there. She's like, don't vote. They tell you to not vote for third party, so we're not voting third party.
Yeah.
Like using their own language against them. That's great.
Exactly.
that is a viable possibility, but it's a ballot line. And what matters is what the voters think. And the voters are overwhelmingly choosing our candidates.
They certainly
so
did
this
in New
too.
York and in other
So-
places, Colorado and other.
One thing like this is like pretty much a big crux of the overall problem because the Democratic Party and Democratic leadership in general, they resent their voters. They don't actually give a fuck about like the will of the
Their
voters.
base.
Yeah, well, basically the Democratic base, and so that is a fundamental component as to why the Democratic leadership is freaking out over self-proclaimed Democratic socialists actually winning with voters, and not just in big Democratic hubs either. And we're going to see even more of that as well. And so, because I like that she puts the attention on the Democratic base, like what do the voters think? Because if DSA messaging is resonating with voters, then the establishment Democrats have a much bigger problem on their hands.
It's not just a big city phenomenon or just a blue coastal phenomenon. Okay, so we're going to put up on the screen a few of the things that are part of your platform, and I want to ask you, just give me sort of a true or false on these. Abolish the Senate.
True.
Okay, replace the presidency and Supreme Court as we now know them.
Yep.
Abolish ICE.
Oh yeah.
Absolutely.
Abolish borders and give amnesty to anyone currently in the U.S. illegally.
As a long-term plan, yep.
Love the amnesty. The borders we'll talk about.
Yeah.
Defund the Pentagon.
Absolutely.
Defunding the Pentagon again. There should have been more color there on that one. That's a huge part of like
Yes.
America's structure of our society. You can't
Yes.
just flippantly say we're going to defund the Pentagon. It's
Yeah.
on par. It's a cousin of defund the police. It doesn't work well. I don't like it.
Yeah, they literally just got audited yet again, and billions upon billions of dollars are missing yet again.
Right. So overhaul the Pentagon or
Yes.
something like that. But
Yeah,
I'm just
that's
saying,
yeah, that's
like
good.
we're not going to get rid of the American military. Okay.
Yeah,
Come on.
Yeah, this.
abolish prisons, at least in large part.
Yeah, again, that as part of a long-term program. Yeah.
Okay, so no prisons. Government.
So the reason why there would be no requirement for prisons is because the society would function so well that there wouldn't be much crime. And whatever
Exactly.
crime there would be treated like mental health rehabilitation.
Right.
And she doesn't say that, though. I mean, she's not dealing with the
Well,
provocative nature of what she's saying.
yeah, I mean, and also like this is just a little snippet too, because like when you sent me this clip and just so I can get my read on it, like it essentially you can only you can only say so much within a short time
Right.
frame because
They
she
didn't
was
give her
only
much time.
yeah, like she was only on here for like 5 minutes, so it's like there's definitely a lot more nuance to these discussions, to these topics in particular,
Right.
that if given like the proper platform and
Okay.
proper leeway,
You
that they
just
can be expanded upon.
absolutely that what you
Yeah,
just said is all right.
yeah,
So imagine if they had built up their
hmm
YouTube channel like I suggested, and she had that as an option to reference in these
hmm
conversations. Like, yeah, part of a longer term plan. If you want to know
yes,
more about what that plan is, come to our YouTube
yeah,
channel. We've got
yep,
essays explaining it.
yep,
What's like, where's the pragmatism, man? I
yeah,
love the I love the ideas,
hmm
but she's not presenting them in as good of a way as she can. Everything has to be done as best as it possibly can if you're on the progressive left. You,
yeah. There
you're
can be
up
no
against
mistakes.
you're up against huge forces. You're up
Hmm
against the forces of capital. So you
Yeah,
have to be getting your pitches into a you got to make it sexy. And right now it's just dry and I don't know. I just again it's like a
well,
BB plus, but there are certain obvious questions that she could be preemptively answering with these answers.
no, sure, and that kind of does speak to the needs of the DSA in its current form as it continues to expand and grow. The necessity for some sort of like media reference point, and that could be a YouTube channel easily, or I mean, I'm
It could be
sure
just their website.
exactly the website, yeah,
Yeah.
and with that, it's like okay, so just so that way the message the overall message of the Democratic Socialists of America can spread easily in an accessible way, so that way it can be more widely understood amongst as many people and many demographics as possible. There can be like for each various topic that is addressed on the DSA platform, a
But they don't
video
have that.
or
But they don't have that.
sure, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like that should
But they need
be
it. Yes, I know they
exactly,
need
yeah,
it, but they're not.
yeah,
This is what I'm saying is
yeah,
it's too
yeah,
high level. It's too high level.
sure.
Okay, here we go.
Or public ownership of most large corporations.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so then let's
Fundamental.
go back through some of those then. Abolish the Senate. There
This
are people
this
who,
one actually makes the most sense in terms
Hmm
of like just one of the basics that she's talking about
Yes.
that we could do quickly that would facilitate the functionality of our federal government.
Yep.
You cut out the Senate, you bump House terms up to 4 years.
Yep.
You have the entire federal government on the chopping block every 4 years,
hmm
and everything. The House controls the money anyway,
Yeah.
so it's like, but the Senate kind of has more power, and
hmm
it's stupid because there are two senators from Wyoming and two senators from California,
Yes.
and it's just fucking dumb.
Yeah.
So
That's it. It literally like by it favors the Republican Party.
so much.
Yeah, like it's inarguable how it's tilted in
And
their
to
favor.
counter the argument of like, oh well, the framers put into the structure of our government. Yeah, the framers also put into the structure of our government a lot of other things that we've changed over the years through amendments. They put in the mechanisms to update the system as we go. So all of these things are actually potentially like allowed by the system that the framers put in place. It's just a matter of like, is it practical timing? Is it good strategic timing to be coming out with these huge ideas right now? That's all I'm
Yeah.
worried about. Let's let her finish though.
who are
Sure.
in the Senate now who are very supportive of DSA. They lose their seats?
Well, The Senate is an anachronistic institution. It comes from the British House of Lords. It is made to protect power for, the Senate was part of the system that was made to make sure that the people didn't have too much of a say. So we want to expand Congress significantly, but make it a unicameral legislature.
Okay, and without the presidency and Supreme Court, so abolish ICE, would there be any enforcement of immigration laws, or with abolishing the border, we're not enforcing immigration laws, they go away?
Yeah, so again, this is part of this longer term plan, and part of it
But if you
includes,
can get there.
Yeah, I mean, if we can get to the place where the U.S. is not destabilizing countries in order to mine them for resources,
Bingo.
there will be significantly less migration.
What do you say to
if we
those
are
though,
not-
that would potentially destabilize the U.S.? Because there's only so much the economy can bear, and when you have a flood of people coming in,
here's
it might
the
not
here's the
work
thing
out
about that.
economically.
Like that's already happened. That's literally like the argument that's coming from the right now. Like the U.S. is like somehow being destabilized by mass migration. And
Right.
so
but
the
it's not being
DS
stable. Yeah.
yeah. So like the solution would then be to adopt what the DSA is saying and stop undermining these countries for their resources and destabilizing their governments, causing sowing chaos and whatnot. So that way, their people stay where they are and stop migrating to the U.S.
Yeah,
Because
but it's a little bit of utopia because you're talking about all these countries functioning at a high level so that people don't want to leave. But that's not going to be for a while. Like the Central America has been destabilized for a really long time now.
Yeah, and all of it is by design because of the interference by the U.S. government, and
That's true, but we still, in my opinion, need to have something of a border, at least until
I agree with that.
things get. I mean, it's just she keeps saying this longer term plan. I wish she would say, this is the vision. This is what America could become. This is what Western civilization could become if we lead the way. You know what I mean? With that, where's that's just, and Megan's just not that person. It's like she's just
There are
not
steps
doing
to
the
be taken.
aspirational language.
Sure.
According to a lot of analyses, if you just open up the borders and there's no enforcement at all.
Well, we're not saying open the borders tomorrow. We're saying rebuild
But
an economy
eventually.
and a society that works for everyone. And the open borders is part of a longer-term international
There
plan
we go.
that involves us stopping destabilizing countries. Most people who are coming to this country are coming as economic refugees, and we
Bingo.
destabilized their country. We did that.
Bingo.
Well, a lot of-
Bingo. That's exactly right. Like all these fucking Fox News boomers who watch this shit need to hear this shit because it is literally the factual goddamn truth. It's been happening for decades and
more
decades.
foreign interventionism. That's another thing that the boomers have to bear is just how entitled they felt to intervene in in the functionality of other foreign governments.
Exactly.
Just to protect American capital. It's disgusting.
If you look at data, the Center for Immigration Studies says right now the households here in the U.S. that are headed up by people who are here illegally, nearly 61% of them are on some type of government or welfare program here in the U.S. Can we afford to do that? I mean, at some point you run out of resources.
Well, right now we make it very difficult for people to participate in society in such a way that they can avoid using services. So we want people to be able to work and live and go to school and actually participate, which means contributing to society and also getting what they need from society. It's a collective choice we can all make.
So if we talk about abolishing prisons, then does that make society better? I mean, is there anybody that should be incarcerated? I mean, rapists, child predators, murderers?
That's right for
Yeah, so the long-term plan, when we think about most people who are in prison, they are mostly in prison for crimes of poverty. So when
But that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the really,
yeah, no,
like the
I hear
murderers
you.
and
So
rapists of the
when
world.
we, yeah, so
See,
when
like
we
that.
get rid of this
It's a
need
skewed
for crimes of poverty
perspective.
to exist, when we get rid of that, when we get rid of this need for crimes of poverty to exist, when we get rid of that destabilizing force that creates so many people who are living in desperate situations and doing desperate things, that brings those numbers down to very small numbers, and then we can collectively
Bingo.
decide what we do with those people. I suspect it won't look like the prison system as we know it today.
Okay, but you do think some people need to be locked away from society?
Some people are not able to be functional members of society. That's true. But what does that look like to keep the rest of us safe? we're talking about safety. We're not talking about punishment. We're talking about making sure that we're safe, everybody's safe, everybody maintains their dignity, and everybody maintains their humanity.
Okay, so much more to discuss. I hope that you will come back, especially as we figure out what the party does with respect to meaning the Democrat Party.
Yeah, rewatching this, she did better than I remember she did.
I
essentially
actually
for the time that she was given, at least.
Yeah, actually, she did better than I initially responded. Of course, my initial reaction, though, I will say, is usually biased towards voters who are still trying to hang on to some kind of capitalism, whether
Sure.
it be starting a small. And I'm really talking about entrepreneurship. Like, I don't want socialism to kill entrepreneurs. Like, entrepreneurs are important. Are they the most important? No, but they are super important. And I just want to make sure that, we're not eliminating that.
Sure.
But all these other things are more important. I mean, it's more important for everyone to have healthcare. It's more important for people to, for us to have a humane and practical immigration system.
Yes.
I guess if I had media trained her and coached her on that appearance, I would have had her talk about vision, and this, instead of like this longer term plan, this long term vision is what I would have had her say.
Yeah.
And then I would have made sure she talked about conservative capitalism in the GOP, but more importantly, neoliberal capitalism in the Democratic Party establishment.
Yeah.
Like, why is she not calling Van Jones a neoliberal capitalist?
Yeah.
In keeping with what we've been saying, is like, in America, first and foremost, socialist means anti-capitalist. And then once you defeat capitalism, then you replace it. But you still have to beat capitalism first.
Yeah. That's essentially it, because talking about like all these like longer term goals and plans and whatnot, it requires so many steps to actually even get to that point. We would need a much healthier society. We would need to end this interventionism overseas. We would need the overall quality of life, the standard of living for people in this country to greatly improve before we start taking those extra steps, because capital is like the main thing that is actually impeding progress towards these goals. But ultimately, like it's like I've said before, and like either with you or on stream discussing the David Pakman thing. The DSA does need to work on messaging if these positions in particular are going to be routinely defended from here on out, because Fox News is going to latch onto those more extreme, kind of more outlandish long-term plans and whatnot. So, like, with that said, like, these particular items shouldn't exactly be the the forefront of the DSA platform, and not to mention the candidates who are running as DSA endorsed and DSA members and whatnot. They're not winning based on like, oh, I'm going to abolish the Senate or get rid of borders or prisons or whatnot. They're winning on like affordable housing, Medicare for
Pothole
all,
politics,
and exactly, and improving the economy for everyday working people. Like that, that's abolishing ICE too, because like the things that people understand and are like, you look at polling, people approve of, like it like in higher quantities, poll wise.
So, let's go through the list here. I'm trying to find the list, but okay, abolish the Senate long term. We agree with. Like, I'd be down to get rid of the Senate like now if
Yeah.
we can bump up House terms to 4 years.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, we agree with abolish the Senate. Do you agree with replace president and replace the Supreme Court?
Honestly, yeah. I mean, especially the Supreme Court. Like, there's no way that.
Yeah, I
like,
would say yes to
yeah.
the Supreme Court, but not to the presidency.
I think the power of the president, the power of the presidency should be a bit more mitigated and like relinquished into to like maybe other powers, perhaps. Like maybe, I mean, there's like it can be done in a number of different ways. I haven't really given too much thought of it, but like there are obviously some countries that have a prime minister as well as a president,
Right.
and maybe just like responsibilities could be relegated or delegated rather to either one,
Yeah, it's just
something
it's
like that.
so far down the road. I think it's
Of
easier to
course.
get rid of the Senate and just put all the responsibilities that they had
Hmm.
on the
The
House.
House.
That's easy. But getting
Yeah.
rid of the presidency, plus there's a little bit of some national security issues there
Yeah.
that you're going to have to be sensitive to.
Of course.
Um, I think you do need one person to be able to respond quickly,
Yes.
especially within the context of military crises.
Yes.
So
Because
I'm reluctant to get rid of the presidency.
that's the thing too. Even if the United States becomes so advanced to the point where all of these um, the plans that the DSA has, for lack of a better phrasing, if we do actually get to that point, we got to remember that like the rest of the world's not going to keep up. Like it's there are a lot of countries that aren't going to mirror exactly what the U.S. does if it's by some miracle the DSA takes over and all their ideals and policies and plans and whatnot actually get implemented. And I mean, I don't think the Europe's going to stop with their imperialism because, uh, like we were talking, like they were just talking about on that interview, um, we extract resources out of other countries, and it destabilizes these countries, and that's what leads to mass migration and shit. We're not the only country that does that.
That
France
does
does
that
this.
right. Yeah,
Yeah,
no.
like France does this. The UK does this. Um, we essentially have multiple countries, be it either in South America or in Africa. We have their governments like the heads of their governments, like we have a gun to their heads and
Right.
shit because like we rely on their cooperation or else, so that way we can get good trade and extract minerals and resources and what have you from their countries without problems being caused. And so, like the less the less self reliant they are, the more reliant they are on us, or whoever it is, then the better it is for them. That's been the game for decades and decades. That's imperialism in a nutshell.
So I think replacing POTUS is a little too far for me. Um,
Hmm.
Stat Pat sounds like he's open to it.
It depends. Yeah, it depends on a lot of
Um,
things.
Replacing SCOTUS, I don't know. I'd say let's just restructure it. Maybe change the appointment process
Yeah,
so that
sure.
Republicans don't get the opportunity to appoint anyone, and then we put term limits
Hmm.
because someone in their 80s doesn't need to be on the bench.
Yes, exactly.
Um, Prosecute those connected to the genocide in Gaza, no problem with that.
Of course. Yeah, it should be obvious. Yeah.
Demilitarize the police, no problem with that.
Yep.
But I don't know if she asked about defunding the police. I would not. I am not for defunding the police. I think the police need to exist
Hmm.
in some form. There should be different kinds of police officers, right? Like that's the whole
Yes.
argument from the left, or at least it should be, is that
Right.
we're trying to diversify the talent in law enforcement so that the right talent shows up to the right problems.
Yes, this was the conversation back in like 2020 when the whole defund the police conversation and discourse was starting to pop off because like diversifying responsibilities for police officers is essentially the goal because like obviously the police like one police officer shouldn't be responsible for a myriad of different things.
Right.
It should be a lot more um uh the department should be expanded in a way so that way like funds get moved to different areas to handle different sorts of problems.
Abolish ICE, no problem with that. Completely
Hmm.
over. I wish you would have added completely overhaul immigration, make it a practical immigration system.
Yes.
Amnesty is something that I think is going to get a lot more popular over the next 2 years. It's like enough with this
Yeah.
undocumented versus document. Just take all the people
Yeah.
that are already here, make them citizens, or give them a path to give them an easy path to citizenship, and be done with it. And then and then have a strict border policy after that. But you've got to take care of the people that are already here. You're not going to get rid of them. Like,
No.
they're too important to the economy.
Yes.
So amnesty, I think, is going to only become more popular. Abolish borders eventually. So there's something called the Schengen Zone. Have you heard of this? I
No,
found
what
out
is
about
that?
it recently. The Schengen Zone is a coalition of European countries that, here, I'll show you. Let me get the map up.
Schengen zone.
That allow basically no borders to take
Oh,
that aren't
so,
here.
so essentially, like the EU, like is a lot more free flowing.
Exactly. So that's where it is.
Yeah.
It's right
Okay.
there.
Right.
Okay.
And,
So
and
that's
these
the
are all
Schengen
countries.
zone.
These are all countries that essentially have like, the same currency.
But notice how
and,
the
like,
UK is not in there and
Of
Turkey's not in
course,
there.
Of course, they're not. Yeah. Of
But
course.
that's the idea, is that, I mean, with that said, there's still borders along the Schengen zone,
Of
right?
course.
Like all the countries that are in the Schengen area, I guess it's called the Schengen area.
Yeah.
Then that's great, but there are still rules. So
Yes.
a lot of people want to criticize the DSA, think they're advocating for anarchy. They're not. It's just, I can't blame people for their negative reactions because Megan left a lot of obvious questions unanswered. So continuing
Yeah.
with the list, defund the Pentagon, we talked about in the moment, restructure the military.
Yeah.
The
So
military the military is
it-
such a wasteful place for government.
I do think there is positivity or an upside, more so, to more to some of the questions or positions basically being more open ended. Because if people walk away from watching that little interview with questions like more questions than answers, really, I believe that has the potential to lead people to become a lot more curious and look more into
It's
the DSA
provocative.
themselves. Of course.
I mean, it was provocative, that's for sure. But it pissed
Yeah.
off a lot of neoliberals who cares, but
Of course, yeah,
a lot
fuck
of
'em.
liberals are people who don't realize that liberalism is actually dead.
Mhm.
Abolish,
Exactly.
replace prisons. Kind of talked about it. Once we eventually get to a highly functional society, we won't need prisons to punish people who have committed crimes of poverty. That was her thesis.
Essentially, yeah.
And she did, but again, like, she did not emphasize enough that it's the longer term vision. Well, I mean, she kind of did, but and
Sure.
then government public ownership of most big time corporations. I don't know about that. I am about breaking them up first.
Yeah.
Breaking up conglomerates first, and then
Yeah.
figuring out where there should be competition and where there shouldn't be.
Exactly.
Because like, there's no reason not to have national oil. Like oil, there's no
Yes.
the private companies like Exxon and Mobil. They're not adding any value. They're not
Right.
They're not doing anything the government couldn't do for cheaper in a cheaper way.
Yes. Yeah, no, I completely agree. I mean, there's just certain industries where, like, obviously, the private sector ruling over certain industries it just leads to worse outcomes because they're so heavily financialized in a way to where the benefits are not going where they should be. And I think, like, obviously in circumstances like that, the government obviously needs to step in and assert some control.
All right. So we reacted to that DSA appearance on Fox News. I think upon a second look, it's not as bad of an example of political marketing as I originally thought.
Sure.
But seeing moderates and centrists lose their shit over it makes me it makes me happy. But I
Yep.
just wonder, and time will tell, if some of these things don't become a distraction. Like,
Sure.
I just
And
don't
they'll
want,
try.
I don't want them the longer term vision for it to be kind of used as cannon fodder by right wing media.
Right. And I think from what I can see so far, a lot of the smears that are just being lobbed towards the Democratic Socialists of America, they're just falling flat. Like no
Right.
one's really like no one's biting, no one's adopting the smears, the fear mongering, as it were. I mean, shit. The Republicans are desperate as hell because they know that their goose is cooked and the polls don't look for great for them for the midterms. So of course, like they're just resorting back to the tried and true McCarthyism and just scaring their base about socialism again.
Yeah, well, it worked for a while, so I mean,
Yeah,
I
it's starting to
can't
wear
say
off
that I
though.
blame them. I mean, yeah, I think people are getting tired, people are getting fatigued, and now Trump's joking about running again in
Hmm.
2028, and
No
it's just a
one's,
big mess.
yeah.
Like, let's move on to. I guess before I move on, I just want to say that I really do love the DSA.
Hmm.
There is a little bit of a difference, a lot difference between national DSA and local DSA chapters themselves. Not everyone in the DSA is thrilled by the laundry list that Megan Romer brought to Fox News,
Sure.
but over time, I think once the vision is massaged out, um, then people will be more down with it and down with the DSA. But
Yeah.
it's like interviews like that. I wonder, is Zoran Mamdani going to have to answer questions about that kind of thing right now? Like,
Right.
and AOC had to answer some questions about it, and she's like, "Yeah, I don't think communism is going to be overtaking America anytime soon."
Yeah.
Um,
She brushed it off as silly because it
right,
fucking is. Like
right,
this effort has been made by the establishment and by the mainstream media and by both parties, but especially Republicans, to conflate um, basically anyone on the left, even like milquetoast liberals, as communists. And it's just like it's the boy who cried wolf. We don't fucking buy it anymore. And this fear mongering, like trying to be like, well, if socialists get in power, like you're not gonna own anything. They're gonna take everything from you. It's just gonna be made worse. It's just like it's already bad right now. Who are you speaking to? Like, are you still trying to like court Gen Z, for example? Because like they have fucking nothing.
all
So
right. So
like
let's take a look at another show's reaction. These are the Live and Learn guys.
live and
Hold on,
learn.
yeah. Let me see. Yeah, so these are the Live and Learn guys. From the left, it's the Soy
Hey,
Pill, who
soy
I know.
pill.
Yeah, we know. We did some work with him a while back.
Mm-hmm.
Hutch, who I hate and is one of the great pussies of the online
Ah.
left. And I look forward to the day when I get to call him a pussy and a loser to his face because this guy is such a fucking neoliberal hack. It's not even
Mm.
funny. Like, I
So
encourage
it.
everyone to go watch these people because these are the types of people that support Hakeem Jeffries and Chuck Schumer and
Gross.
Nancy Pelosi, and you can see the John Ossoff in the back, and like they're
Uh,
neolibs without calling themselves neolibs.
so
So
like,
they're go ahead.
who is it though? Like who's on the show and who's a guest?
So they're all just collabing together. This is Hutch's feed, but
I see.
I hate Hutch. Pisco is also kind of annoying.
Okay.
I don't really find him terribly.
Uh oh, you there? Uh oh, did we lose Deether? I think we might have lost Deether. Uh oh. Odds are he's probably gonna call me in a minute. He probably like lost connection or something like that. Maybe power went out or something. That's because that's happened before. Let's see here. Power outage. Oh no. Well, that's unfortunate. I can still see him too. Yeah, he says power outage should be coming back on soon. But yeah, no, the soy pill's great. We'll stay in here. Obviously, the stream's obviously still going on both channels. So Yeah, subscribe to Dieter, subscribe to me. We did some work with the soy pill. I think like a year or so ago. It's been a while, but he actually came onto our channel when he was still basically like up and coming, and like since then his channel has exploded in popularity, and he makes fantastic content. So the soy pill is definitely something, a channel that you should all absolutely subscribe to. We should probably try to get him on again sometime. See if he's down for that. But this Hutch guy, I've been meaning to actually check out his content, because when it comes to these just empty, pathetic neoliberals that are just basically establishment cheerleaders and don't um, advocate for bold progressive change, it's just they're just ripe for the picking, you know. Um, I think that I that might actually be more of a focus for us on the left coast, just going after these, establishment shills that don't actually offer anything meaningful, no substance, no change. Um, if you guys caught my stream on Sunday, um, I basically took down David Pakman because he put out a video. It didn't give us traction, but definitely caught the eyes of some prominent leftists, and that kind of got me fucking interested because of what he was saying about the DSA, and just absolutely pathetic. So make sure to go check out my video on that. Dieter, hey, hustling to get back on. So yeah, he um just loading everything back up. So it's not too big of a deal. It happens. It's happened before. I remember earlier this year, there's a big storm that came through here on the West Coast, through California, and the moment where he went offline, I saw his room just go like dark, like the lights went out, and I knew immediately, like, oh, his power went out, and lo and behold, like, he lost connection and everything. But yeah, not a big deal. It happens. Um, yeah, this Hutch guy is definitely one of those neoliberals that we have been meaning to take down and whatnot. And Dieter's like a rabid dog. He will he will be absolutely relentless in his critiques regarding these people, because they don't fucking offer anything. I was watching Dieter's stream yesterday, I believe it was. He did his own solo stream where he watched Gavin Newsom and David Pakman talk, and like it was just so empty. Like they didn't really talk about much. Like it's just like it was just vapid. And then the Pod Save America guy, I forget his name. He had on Matt Iglesias, super annoying guy, just a lol cow who absolutely sucks. Tried to make it so that way, like tried to make it seem like, oh well, um, you know, like moderates are made to be like uh um they're not independent. They're not they're beholden to um money or whatever. And he tried to say that like uh independent media, progressive media isn't actually independent because they're beholden to their viewers, which is like, are you just saying that you aren't? Are you saying that like more centrist and neoliberal democratic figures, they're they're not beholden to their viewers as well? Because like he got dragged for that shit, and posted on Twitter and like basically complained. It's just like these are not apt comparisons. This is a false equivalence. The reason these shows like ours are independent is because we don't take ad money. Like, I mean, sure, it'd be nice, but like shows like Kyle Kalinske, he admits that Dieter says power is back, but internet isn't. So still on standby for him. He even admits like he could be making hundreds of thousands of dollars more potentially, if he actually did ad reads and shit. But like he chooses not to do that on principle. So it goes to show it's like people like Matt Iglesias, the consultant class, the establishment Democrat class, the neoliberals who cheerlead for the Democrats and basically play defense for them at all costs with no substance. They don't actually have principles. They're just in it for the paycheck. I think it's a lot more obvious the more you actually look into these people, especially like David Pakman. I would be surprised if Brian Tyler Cohen is like this as well, because it's like I was saying on my stream, talking about the David Pakman videos. You can tell who is and who isn't a principled act like lefty based on how they present themselves, because to be left wing, to be like on the left, is to be some form, like you have to be at least a modicum of anti-capitalist generally, whereas to be right wing, you are a defender of capitalism broadly, like generally speaking. That is the dividing line. Like you don't have to be a socialist to be on the left, but like you're clearly not in favor of capitalism, especially the way it operates. And of course, vice versa for the right. But yeah, I appreciate your guys' patience. It's been quite an active week for lefties and whatnot. I think everybody's just so jaded over the Iran war and Trump and whatnot, even though that's getting exponentially worse. That like we're just basically going over the dividing lines on the left and why the DSA really is the future for the Democratic Party and whatnot. Because it's like we were saying earlier in the stream, and what Megan was saying on Fox News, the DSA co-chair. Democrats have been saying for the longest time, like, why don't you just run as a third party? Or like you can't run as a third party because the third party never wins. You can't vote for a third party because the third party never wins. It's like, okay, well, if that's the case, let's just take over the Democrats. Let's just take over the Democratic Party. And back in 2020, when Trump was still president, this was a major conversation that was happening on the left broadly. If the left is to succeed, then which would be the best course of action? Would it be reform? Hey, what's up?
Good job there riffing, man. I know that's not easy.
It's not, but just to finish my thought, like back in 2020, the conversation the left was broadly having was, well, should we form our own party, or should we have a revolution, or should we reform the Democrats? And there's an argument for all three, but like ultimately, like the plurality of people wanted to reform the Democrats, basically take over the Democratic Party and put more progressives in there, more socialists. And it's a long, tedious process, but that's basically like where we are right now. And now that it's actually, we're seeing the fruits of our efforts, like everything's like starting to become a lot more successful for the left. We're seeing just the worst figures, the worst establishment figures, and neoliberals coming out of the woodwork to throw cold water on the movement and throw out their smears. And yeah, but this is to be expected because it's been this way for fucking decades.
All right, let's go to
Where
a
were
specific
we?
spot.
Yeah.
With Live and Learn podcast. This is the Live and Learn guys, and for some reason, they think that everyone's laughing at the DSA.
Sweeping. You should say insane.
Everybody is laughing at DSA right now. Everybody is laughing at them because of that lady who went on Fox News and the guy with the John Waters mustache from New York City DSA who went on Fox News. They're not doing well, and they'll continue to do poorly and embarrass themselves. I think it actually will knock them down a bit.
Yeah, what are you talking about?
Like,
I told Hutch this earlier. Like that lady, if she were an op, if she were somebody like hired by Fox News, how would you possibly know? Like it was just such a bad clip.
Did you guys see when the head of r/anti-work went on Fox News? It's about as bad as that. Where it's just like, oh, I don't want a job, I don't want to work, I'm lazy. It's like, okay, here's literally the welfare queen. Like this is their whole thing. So,
awesome.
You can only do so much. They're gonna find the craziest people and put them on, and then sometimes the craziest people are the heads of the organization. So.
I mean,
and what was so funny too about that clip, like.
I'll bet you anything like these guys only probably skim the clip maybe once, but even between me and you watching that clip again a second time, it kind of gelled. It made more sense for us and whatnot. So it's there's just I don't know, I don't understand the angle here or where they're even coming from, because the DSA is clearly in the best position that they've arguably ever been in right now currently.
Yeah, and that's the counter argument to her going on Fox News and laying out this vision right now, is that we're just starting to get traction. We're just starting to get power. Don't jeopardize that. But these guys are convinced that they can foresee the future in terms of understanding how the reaction. Now, whether or not their reaction is valid is irrelevant. The fact is, if they're reacting this way, other people are reacting this way. So that's what I'm trying to figure out here is what can we learn from them?
How's the saying go? First they ignore you, then they make fun of you, then they fight you, then you win. Something like that.
It was depressingly funny. It was darkly comedic. Was the fact that it wasn't Jesse Waters or somebody that she was talking to. It was Shannon Bream, and Shannon Bream took Chris Wallace's place, and she's supposed to be just one of the super serious straight newscasters. And you can almost her cheeks are pink. She's flush with how happy she is. That. Okay, yes or no? I'm going to ask you a bunch of questions. So you want to abolish the Senate, right? Yeah, okay. So you want to abolish the presidency? Huh? Yeah, okay. And no prisons, right? No, that's so good. Okay, it's so funny, but in a way that makes you want to Minecraft.
For abolishing prisons, that's a long-term goal. Okay, we won't get to that right away.
And then she followed, but then Shannon followed up with, okay, so no prisons. Okay, yeah. God.
So
they're going to give them
this is why
spot on their programming. They're going to invite DSA on their programming.
She's going to get
I hope they do.
Are you the DSA chair is going to get her own show on Fox?
Good. I think it's better.
Please.
Let them expose themselves instead of being this boogeyman that other people fill in with their imagination what they are. Let these idiots show their asses out there.
There you go.
I'm glad to see.
Yeah.
I would love
he
to.
Just thinks that they're idiots.
I would
that's
love
the annoying part.
Yeah, exactly. I would love to see more DSA asses. Please, come on. I mean, here's the thing. It's if they actually had the opportunity to expand on these ideas and these policies and these positions and whatnot, they most people who are actually in tune with this shit, or people who even just are paying attention in passing, would be like, oh yeah, that makes sense. I can see that. I can see why this could be a reasonable position to have. It's yes, please, by all fucking means, give the Democratic Socialists of America a lot more attention.
This morning, Jessica Tarlov did a live stream with Scott Galloway for their Raging Moderates podcast, and I can't remember the exact quote, but she's like, yeah, as soon as I saw this, and I realized I would be on the 5 the next day. She goes, I was like, because this is what they're gonna hit her with. That sucks so badly.
What about not just specific to DSA as an organization, but sort of the broader movement? What do you guys think of they're really going after Pakman this last week? What do you think of the overall entire lefty media ecosystem pouncing on
bullshit. See,
creators like Pakman.
See,
fucking pussy. Yeah, were his comments even that? It was just oh, the DSA is not doing good work, or so. It wasn't even that harsh, and that it gets the entire ecosystem attacking him. It was something ridiculously
brigading and stuff. That's
no, but they do that. But they do that to they do that constantly. They will target people. I mean, the chorus the stuff is a really good example of that.
Yeah, of course, was fucking exposed.
I don't know. It's beyond just politicians.
The issue was not.
No, I'm just saying, I don't know.
The issue was the fact that David Pakman was regurgitating conservative propaganda about the DSA.
Right.
He was if Pakman's thing, like I said on stream, like I said in my goddamn videos, if his entire channel is revolving around the dangers of the Trump administration and the fascism, essentially, of the Trump administration, and how dangerous Trump is, and like all the horrible things that is happening under Trump and whatnot.
Well, you know what Pakman and Trump have in common is crypto, because Pakman took the videos down of him pushing crypto because it was so embarrassing.
Yep. Yeah.
He's an asshole, dude. I fucking hate David Pakman. He's such a pussy. I'm embarrassed that I used to like him.
No, exactly. Like, so if his whole thing is like making just countless clickbait videos about how bad Trump is, which it's fine. There's definitely a lane for that. Like, there's definitely a need for that, like in the media ecosystem and whatnot, highlighting how horrible Trump is and all these horrible things, because a lot of it gets lost, right? But to sit there and while the Trump administration is actively through NSPM 7 beginning to target and categorize and essentially, for lack of a better term, blacklist all these leftists and like leftist figures and content creators and what have you, as potential enemies, like real McCarthy era shit, to do their bidding by labeling the DSA as extremists who are out to destroy the Democratic Party. You're doing the fucking job of the Trump administration,
right?
What the fuck, dude? That's the problem that the left had. That is why David Pakman has been dragged these past few days. That's why I hopped on to that stream, my solo stream on Sunday, because of that shit. Like, so at least be honest about why the left is dragging shit. Not just like, oh, well, he criticized the DSA in a tepid way, and the leftists lost their shit. It's like, no, because he's fucking doing the job of the right. He's airing conservative propaganda. He's regurgitating it.
But these guys think
he's still for the Democratic Party.
But these guys think that
he cannot handle the Democrats being taken over by the people who
progressives,
he can't handle them being taken over by progressives. Otherwise, like, oh no, David Pakman is going to be associated with more communist level people. It's like the Republican Party thinks you're all fucking communists anyway. They think fucking Gavin Newsom is a communist.
I know, they're going to call you a communist no matter what.
Yeah, of course, like, you're going to, like, not show up to, like, the Young College Democrats of America or whatever because Hassan Piker is there. Because if you're you're not going to go on his show either. You're not going to have Hassan Piker on your show because you don't want to be associated with him. Otherwise, you might not get fucking Hillary Clinton on your show next, probably. Who fucking knows? Like, you've had on Richie Torres. You've talked to Gavin Newsom. Like, you want to stay in the good graces of the good boys and girls of the Democratic Party elite. It's so transparent. Well, like, of course,
should we treat them like a Trojan horse? Should we treat them like a Trojan horse?
I think you should privately regard them as such. You know. Yes.
Why not publicly?
I think, Hutch, they're incompetent. They're like Donald Trump, where they're full of people like that lady who don't know what they're doing.
Incompetent? We're winning, you fucking idiot.
Can we spend 60 seconds watching the most terrifying clip of the past month and no one's talking about it for some reason?
All right, we can watch that clip and then I got to go.
Yeah, which is Donald Trump saying, I'm going to run for a fourth term. He's definitely not joking, guys. Can we do something?
So this was... I'm going to share this one instead.
Come on, dude.
This is Joe Scarborough's reaction to Meghan's appearance on Fox News. Let's listen to this real quick.
The national co-chair of the DSA went on television and showed us exactly who she is and what her party believes. Abolish the U.S. Senate, the presidency as we know it, the Supreme Court as we know it? True. Abolish ICE? Absolutely. Open the borders, defund the Pentagon, empty the prisons, have the government seize private companies? Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. All questions answered with complete conviction. And all those responses completely disqualifying for a party that likes to tell people they're really just about health care and tax reform. I have no problem with debate. Barack Obama might say that a party that stops debating the big issues with itself stops growing.
Well, here's the thing.
But there's a difference between...
Here's the thing. These debates have been going on for over a fucking decade. And guess what? Nothing's changed.
Neoliberalism has been winning.
Do these debates need to go on like ad infinitum? Do they just need to be constant? Do they need to be endless? Like just perpetual in nature? Or can we actually reach a consensus on the on what the debate, like the results of the debate? Like it is clear what's popular, what's not, what works, what does not. The issue is when you debate these issues is whether or not these issues interfere with capital, right, and the bottom line of capitalism. That is what the establishment defends. That's you're a stooge of the establishment. It's like there's no fucking debate. The debate is why the fuck are we still allowing assholes like you dictate the conversation?
Because they're popular with the boomers. That's why.
Pushing your party to be better and asking it to abandon every single thing that makes it worth belonging to in 2026.
I got to chatter real quick.
Remember how the Democrats pushed
River of Peace? Thanks for tuning in. I think I remember seeing you on my stream. Why would we want to empty the prisons? It's a lot more nuanced than that.
No, it's about rehabilitating the people so that they can get back into society. And then the ones that absolutely can't get back into society, then you quarantine those folks. Yes. But, the idea is to actually implement a real rehabilitation system because our prison system is not a rehabilitative one. It is a punishment system.
Yes. So the thing about the prisons too is that the majority of them are all private prisons. So the more people that get locked up, the more money they make, the more their stock prices go up. So they are incentivized to lock up more people and keep people locked up for longer. And the majority of people in there are in there for crimes of poverty. So like crimes that were committed in the name of poverty because like they're struggling to get by, or what have you, or minor drug offenses. If you wipe out like all the crimes of poverty and shit, and like the petty misdemeanors and the drug crimes and whatnot, a lot of these prisons, like over half of them will be emptied. We're not like. There's a lot more nuance and details of the conversation regarding prisons in general, but we as a country are obsessed with punishment, and a lot of the time it is directed in the wrong places. Thanks for tuning in again. I keep forgetting that there's hundreds and hundreds of people in prison who should be in jail in the first place. That's essentially like prison reform is like, okay, take defund the police for example. Obviously, that's like an extreme position, but it opens up the conversation to like, okay, the police should be funded in different ways. Their tasks should be diversified, and they shouldn't have to handle like so many responsibilities as one person. That's the actual conversation. Saying something like empty the prisons. That opens up the conversation. Like, well, the prison should at least be reformed because of X, Y, Z. Like literally what we were just saying a couple minutes ago. It's to provoke ultimately because it gets these conversations started. Thanks for tuning in. Go ahead, Dieter.
Back against the lawlessness of January 6th and the attempt to overthrow the election. How they rose up and fought back against Americans and immigrants being gunned down in American streets, and they did it to defend the basic American values and the Constitution. And as far as defense goes, JFK promised America would pay any price, bear any burden to assure the survival and the success of liberty. LBJ passed the most sweeping civil rights legislation in history. That's a party worth fighting for. Bill Clinton balanced the budget 4 years in a row. Nobody's done that in over 100 years.
Not the only thing
and
that
Barack
matters.
Obama, he created the Affordable Care Act and expanded health care coverage to record levels. He added 20 million Americans to the insured.
That's one thing, when you guys get lost in this talking politics with your friends or family, get them down to incrementalism versus structuralism. nobody in their right mind is going to say that we don't need huge structural change at this point. If you admit the system is broken, you got to fix the system or replace the system. Exactly. See, and that's the big difference, I think, between, the DSA and a lot of other progressives is the DSA is like, okay, we're going to replace the system, and here's how we're going to replace it. Instead of, like, let's try fixing this and fixing that, right? Like, my only concern is that Meghan's appearance makes it so that we're talking about abolishing prisons and borders as opposed to raising the minimum wage and passing Medicare for all.
Yeah, ultimately, that's absolutely right. That's
the
why
fact that those douchebags, though, Hutch and Pisco and all those other fucking losers, and I actually like Josiah and Soy Pill, but the fact that they think they know that everybody's laughing at the DSA, like, who's everybody, dude? Are you saying you and MAGA trash? Or are you saying, like, what? Like, non-progressive leftists? You're saying liberals?
Exactly.
Like, define your terms. What do you stand for? That's what I would want to ask that question. Is like, what would you do if you were in power?
Yes.
Right. Yeah, because I don't think they have any ideas.
Like, that's ultimately what it comes down to. It's just like, you're saying everybody's laughing. Like, who exactly are you referring to? Like, because you're essentially siding with the far right fucking asshats who joyously and openly mock people like Megan Romer and anybody who considers themselves a democratic socialist and whatnot, because that's all they have. The entire conservative media apparatus just serves to mock the left and fearmonger about the left and just smear and slander and just cast all sorts of doubts and make all sorts of lies about that. Why are you doing their bidding? Like, why are you like, what the fuck?
Plus, it's funny. I did that video on, like, what's wrong with the left. The Black America warned us 60 years ago. And I talk about how MLK said, beware the white moderate, while Malcolm X said, beware the white liberal. And what did we just look at with those guys? They're all white liberals.
Yeah.
They're all white moderates. Like, we've been warned. And I mean, I listened, y'all. Hey, Black America, if you're watching right now, I listened. And I celebrated those luminaries' thoughts because they were ahead of their time. Hey, let's get through this Morning Joe bullshit.
Sure.
And Joe Biden fought back against the corrupt anti-democracy forces that still infect Donald Trump's Republican Party. But being that party defends democracy, also demands condemning a party that calls to abolish the U.S. Senate, the House, the presidency, and the Supreme Court. Wants to release murderers and rapists from jail. I mean, one candidate was asked by the New York Times 3 times, do you support letting murderers out of jail? She wouldn't even answer. A party that zeroes out spending on defending America's borders, defending America overseas.
Hey, you have a problem, Joe, with people not answering questions? Jeez, it's like that's like pretty much every single Democrat when asked about Israel, Gaza.
Yeah, I know. Oh, and that's the other thing with those fucking live and learn guys is it sounds like they don't care about AIPAC. It sounds like they don't really care about having about getting rid of political action committees.
Yeah.
It sounds like they don't really know about campaign finance, because if they did, they wouldn't. Like, did they not agree that Israel's committing genocide?
Yeah, I brought that up in my my David Pakman video. I'm sure you heard me. It's like, what does he think about campaign finance reform? What does he think about political action committees and Citizens United and shit? It's I mean, these people consider themselves progressives, but no, they're. I think it's
an algorithm thing. I think it's an algorithm thing. I think it's just like it's getting clicks to hate on the DSA or talk shit. The DSA is just red hot right now. It's in the ether, and people are taking their shots.
Defending America at home takes police officers out of our children's schools and off our streets and erases America's borders? Come on. Democrats have always believed you can love your country while pushing it toward being that more perfect union. And you can do that without wanting to burn it to the ground.
How would any of this...
If Democrats want to make America more affordable, more fair, and more free, and I think they do, they better speak truth to its most extreme base, or they're going to let a small faction of radicals drive more people toward Donald Trump. Because
no, that's
Chuck
not
Schumer,
true. They just won't vote.
Team Jeffries, every other Democrat in Washington.
It's so stupid. It's like, this is why I left the left. They just became too radical, too extreme. Fuck you. Fucking weak. That's such a weak ass.
Well, the funny thing is too,
it shows that like they don't have any fucking goddamn principles to begin with. Like I don't doubt that any of those guys, those Hutch guys, whatever the fuck, as well as David Pakman, don't actually believe in the goddamn thing. But like they have enough decency to realize like, oh, I can't be associated with the far MAGA right in the Republican Party and whatnot. So I'm gonna like my angle is just gonna be cheerlead for the Democrats, but not like make it clear that like, oh, I'm not actually a Democrat. I'm just calling it like I see it, whatnot. Whereas like they are doing the fucking bidding of the capitalist establishment, whatever the fuck makes them money and shit. It's fucking ridiculous, dude.
Washington D.C. Make no mistake of it. If you don't define your party today, Donald Trump will be sure to define it in November.
Fear-driven prediction.
Ultimately like
fear-driven proclamation, fear-driven prediction, acting as if you know what's going to happen. Like, give me a break, dude. Give me a break.
Yeah, I mean,
like, it's just do you know that the average age of all MS Now, Fox News, and CNN, the average age is all over 70?
Not surprised at all.
It's the people that have nothing going on.
Yeah.
They can't do anything. They're too old to be able to go like play golf.
Exactly.
So they're just sitting there in front of their TV complaining. Look at what these youngins are doing to the country. Actually, look at what you did to the country when you had power. You fucking hypocrites.
And youngins are responding to by like actually bringing some energy back into the party. I'm sorry, like if the biggest threat to this country is Donald Trump and his party, but we need the Democrats to win, and these DSA candidates are actually winning in big numbers and delivering, like Mamdani is.
They're not winning everywhere, but they are winning in a lot of places.
But they're bringing a lot more energy. They're actually driving turnout.
Right?
Isn't this exactly what you want? And this is the thing: Democrats don't actually want to win unless it's on their own terms.
Right.
They would much
establishment
rather,
neoliberals.
Yes, exactly. They would rather lose to Republicans than see the DSA and progressives in general gain more appeal. Basically, it's like they don't actually fucking care. Like they would much rather this country get like they. It just goes to fucking show that like everything they say about the dangers of Trump doesn't actually matter because the energy is not in the good graces of like fucking the centrist types and shit. Like what is it?
You've written about
the
this.
centrists?
About how the most about that.
Yeah. Yeah. It's an interesting time for the DSA.
So
it's becoming more popular. The good news is I don't see any other competing organization out there that's really doing this kind of work. It just seems like, and that's why I wish Megan had done a little bit better job of like making the concepts a little bit more baby food friendly.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Like, this is a vision. This is like when we have a functional society, we won't need prisons because people all behave themselves and there won't be any crimes of poverty. You know, like, and she tried, but guys like the Live and Learn guys, they just hear what they want. And I think they're still caught up maybe in this idea that they're going to be rich someday. And they want to preserve that possibility or something. Like, is that what it is? Is that what they think they're going to be rich? Because that's the only reason to be on board with liberalism as it stands now, because there is no liberalism. It's just neoliberalism.
Yeah, or like leapfrog from their current place in life to something a bit more lucrative, like maybe like a fucking like cable TV job or something like that, which is it's just like pathetic for one. And that was like that was Dave Rubin's thing for a long time too. It's just like it's so.
Well, Francesca Fiorentini was on MSNBC for a minute, and then she went from TYT to MSNBC, and then they didn't renew her contract. They only gave her a trial run for like a couple of weeks, and it didn't work out.
Yeah, like I mean, that's one thing going from cable television to independent media, because and having like a more progressive lean. Like look at Crystal Ball. She used to be on MSNBC. She's a big progressive figure nowadays. Or Joanne Reed. You know, like they're fucking who else? Like Mehdi Hassan. He's fucking fantastic. Him and Zateo. Like yeah, like it just goes to show that like if your goal, like a long-term goal of yours, like your ambitions is for like cable television, you're not a progressive because they fucking hate progressives. They kick them the fuck out.
Right.
It just goes to show.
All right. Well, amidst technical difficulties, we got through it. A lot less disagreement than I expected, but mostly because my position softened.
This was
like
good.
Abolishing the Senate. I just don't. I don't necessarily agree with all the tenets. I'm still struggling with that. Like, no, we need a president. It's really important. Like, there should be a priority list, right?
Yes, yes, that's 100%. Like priorities. Like obviously, like all these tenets, all these positions would need to be relayed and structured in the way that are prioritized. Like obviously, a lot of these more extreme examples that would require like literally like a giant fucking overhaul can't come without other things being in place first, other priorities actually being implemented. So like it does come back to a messaging thing. It does come back to organizing and getting behind a cohesive message, a cohesive platform. So in due time, though, like I mean, it's there's still.
Well, I can tell you right now, my fear about 2028, and I'll close with this because it's something we'll take in. But I think 2028 is going to once again be an identity politics fest.
Maybe, yeah.
I think it's going to be a festival of identity politics, and whose turn is it? And no one's going to be talking about problems and solutions, but whoever gets the nomination is going to win anyway because, you know, the Republican Party is so disgusting.
Yeah.
That's what I think is maybe going to happen. Be prepared for another 8 years of disappointment. Be prepared for another Obama, because I'm pretty sure that's what we're going to get after this. We're going to get another Obama. We're not going to get prosecution of MAGA. We're not going to get removal of Trump justices and Trump judges.
Yeah,
we're not going to, you know, they're going to tax the rich a little bit more, but you know, there's not going to be major unless AOC wins, or maybe JB Pritzker. I don't see anybody else that's calling for big time structural change.
Yeah, I mean, if MAGA is not prosecuted and you know the Trump agenda isn't completely reversed and they're not all tried for their countless crimes,
right?
It would be like the single biggest mistake this country has ever made since refusing to prosecute the bankers after 2008.
Right.
Yeah.
It would be, and it'll be that all over. It'll be
like, yeah, exactly.
Same thing.
The exact same thing.
Just different context.
Yep.
Just different context.
Yeah.
I mean, remember what Karl Marx said, guys. History repeats itself. First as a tragedy, second as a farce. Okay?
Yep.
Never forget. Mm-hmm. All right. On that note, please like, share, subscribe, tell your friends. We are here Tuesday nights at 7 p.m. Pacific, 10 p.m. Eastern. Please, you know, feel free to email us. Find us on Blue Sky for stuff you want us to talk about.
Yes.
And thanks for showing up. And never forget, you don't get change in America by asking nicely.
Thank you all for tuning in so much. Make sure you like the stream, subscribe to us, and we'll see you next week.
Thanks a lot, y'all.